This is a story about a man by the name of Mr. Robinson, though that's actually a fictitious name given to him by his doctor to protect his privacy. This is a true story. Mr. Robinson was being treated for advanced cancer of the lymph nodes. His body was filled with tumors the size of oranges, and his spleen and liver was so enlarged that 2 quarts of fluid had to be drained out of his body every day. All the standard treatments had been exhausted, and it was clear that he did not have very long to live. It was 1950, and there was a new drug called Caitriona that had just received sensational national publicity as the cure for cancer. One of the people involved in the testing of this new drug happened to be Mr. Robinson's doctor. When he discovered this, he begged his doctor to give him the new drug. At first, the doctor refused because it was still in the testing stages and only being tested on people with a life expectancy of 3 months or more. But Mr. Robinson pleaded with his doctor to give him the drug, and eventually his doctor agreed and gave it to him. It was a Friday evening, and he was so ill at this point that his doctor was not expecting to see him live past the weekend. When the doctor returned to the hospital on Monday, he found Mr. Robinson out of bed and walking around. The tumors, in the doctor's own words, had melted like snowballs on a hot stove. They were half their original size. This is far more rapid a decrease in size than any treatments, then or now, could have accomplished. 10 days later, Mr. Robinson left the hospital, and as far as his doctors could tell, he had no signs of cancer whatsoever. When he'd entered the hospital, he had needed an oxygen mask to breathe, and now he started to fly his plane again, going up to 12,000 feet without discomfort. He remained in good health for about 2 months, and then articles began to appear about Caitriona that said it had no curative effect on cancer of the lymph nodes. Mr. Robinson, who was completely logical and scientific in his thinking, became very depressed. Then he suffered a relapse and was soon back in the hospital. His doctor was very curious, both about the recovery and the relapse, so he decided to try an experiment. He told his patient that Caitriona was, in fact, every bit as effective as it had at first seemed, but that some of the initial supplies of the drug had deteriorated during shipping. He explained that he now had a new and highly concentrated version of the drug, and that he would like to treat Mr. Robinson with it. Of course, the physician didn't have anything of the sort, and he simply injected his patient with plain distilled water. But the results were dramatic. The tumor masses melted away, chest fluid vanished, and Mr. Robinson left the hospital again, even though he had been treated with nothing more than just 1 injection of water. He was symptom-free for another 2 months, and then there was an announcement that a nationwide study had found Caitriona to be worthless as a treatment for cancer. This time, Mr. Robinson was devastated. His cancer returned, and within 2 days, he was dead. The story is tragic, but what does it imply? Did Mr. Robinson have unusual power? If not, then we must ask ourselves what we are truly capable of when we harness our power to heal, when we bypass our belief systems and tap into the healing forces inside us. The story is quite well known and well documented, but there are many similar stories, and how strange that we tend, or that the mainstream culture and to a large extent the medical establishment tends to play those stories down or to ignore them. What would you do if you knew that your imagination had the power to bypass belief systems and to heal your body? More than that, what would you do if you tapped into the power of your imagination in such a way that it allowed you to be, do, and have whatever you chose? What would you do if you knew you couldn't fail? Really, ask yourself, what would you attempt to do if you knew your success was guaranteed? Write it down in your journal. Allowing yourself to entertain this idea, if you have not done so in the past, is a huge step. And it's not important what your belief systems are on this. All I'm asking you to do is to use your imagination and write down what you would do if anything you set your heart on was possible. than to continue imagining for a week or a month, to keep on writing, just to see what happens, just to see what the outcomes may be, and to see what changes inside you when you dream on a large scale. Because you can, can't you? That's why you're listening to this, because your imagination is powerful, and you know it, don't you?